It's Monday, August 22nd, 2022. Markets just closed a little while ago, and I will say the markets were shaken today. The talk of more continued rate hikes, recession fears, and I think the biggest fear of them all in regards to what we're beginning to see in these markets is that the Fed may not be pivoting as quick as these markets anticipated. The Fed is not going to pivot, in my opinion, this year at all. Could they next year? Yes, they could. But I still don't think that they're going to. I really believe that the Fed is not going to pivot, and I think that the Fed is going to cause a Great Depression in the United States of America. And I think that it's going to be purposely done, and I think it has to be done. If we reverse course and pivot, the US dollar and hyperinflation are going to be two big things that we're going to be facing. We're going to be facing hyperinflation, and we're going to be facing a out of control dollar that will be spiraling downward because of that pivot, because the world is going to see that we've lost control if the Fed pivots. I pray to God that the Fed does not pivot. If they do, we're going to have bigger trouble than a depression. Dow Jones today down nearly 650 points. If we go back to Thursday to today, Monday, the Dow Jones has lost roughly about 1,000 points. NASDAQ down 323 points today. NASDAQ down 21% for the year. Now, another alarming problem here is the 10-year bond yield. It's sitting at 3.03% as I make this video. So we've now broken that 3% barrier. I checked the 30-year fixed rate on a mortgage. It's sitting at 5.78. Remember, that's if you have a 800 plus FICO. If you have 20% down, that's for the very, very few percent that can acquire a 5.78% mortgage today. Again, perfect credit, 20% down. Those are the people that can qualify for that. Most people right now, if they can qualify for a home, are going to be paying over 6% on a 30-year. Retailers today smashed. Discount retailers smashed. Luxury retailers smashed. Discount retailers down. Department stores down. And a quick note, I was at my local mall today, which used to be the Westfield Mall. Now it is in foreclosure. I don't even think it has a name at this point. Maybe they've put another name up on it. But we went by the food court today in the mall, and there's 2 or 3 restaurants that are vacant. Nothing's changed there. But I was there right around 12 o'clock, and nobody in the food court, nobody visiting the restaurants. It was a ghost town. And I'm just saying to myself, how in the world are these restaurants existing right now in the mall? There's nobody eating at these places. It is a ghost town. Very, very alarming, but it is another indicator of what's really happening in the economy, what's happening in retail. The mall was dead, the multiple stores gone, vacancies all over the mall, and nobody eating at the restaurants. They're on borrowed time as the mall is in foreclosure. AMC shares tank 40% as Regal Cinemas owner warns of potential bankruptcy. They actually had to halt trading for a period today. Unbelievable what is happening. But AMC tanks down 40%. Actually, it was about 41% last I checked. Incredible what we're seeing with these theaters now having to file bankruptcy. Business, I think the theater business is down 30% this year compared to 2019. Again, another indicator that people don't have the discretionary money to go out and spend to go see movies. And again, most of the movies today are garbage, just right off the assembly line garbage. And maybe people are waking up that, maybe Hollywood doesn't really agree with them so much, and maybe they're just sick of giving their money to Hollywood. I don't know. Look, I'm not here to get political. If you want to go to a movie, nobody's going to hold that against you. If you want to, go spend, I don't even know what a ticket costs today. $10, $20, I have no idea. If you want to take your hard-earned money and give it to Hollywood, that's on you. I'm certainly not going to judge anybody for doing that, but I can tell you I've not been to a theater in probably near 20 years. I would never give them a dime of my money, but that's up to you to decide. But I think we have to be really careful who we're giving our money to and how that money is going to be used against us at some point. So be cautious with that. Ford to eliminate 3,000 jobs in effort to cut costs. Another 3,000 jobs to be eliminated. Most of these right here in North America. 2,000 of those jobs will be salaried positions. 1,000 will be agency positions. Wolfstreet.com, U.S. natural gas spikes 81% in 7 weeks, hits new 14-year high. I don't know about you, but utilities are skyrocketing. To cool the house is a fortune. And we're not even having the hottest summer here. We're having a humid one, but it's certainly not the hottest one. But it is going to be a fortune for people back east and in the Midwest to heat their homes this year. And it's been a fortune for people out here on the West Coast, especially in the desert community where I live, to cool your homes. It is extremely expensive. But according to this article, gas futures are up 146% compared to last year, and they're up 350% from 3 years ago. How in the world is the average person's paycheck going to keep up with this? The cost of cooling your house, heating your house, putting gasoline in your car, putting food on the table. My heart goes out to anybody out there struggling, anybody out there with kids, anybody out there just grinding it out day to day, trying to make a living and pay their bills while they're getting ready to raise our taxes and hire 89,000 additional agents to make sure that you pay every cent you owe. 59% of Americans worry student loan forgiveness will make inflation worse. CNBC survey finds $1.7 trillion of outstanding student loan debt floating out there. Now, I don't know how much they're going to forgive. Maybe all of it, half of it, I don't know. But quite possibly, they could try to forgive $1.7 trillion in student loan debt. What do you think this would do to our inflation level right now, to the CPI, to your standard of living, to your purchasing power, if they forgave $1.7 trillion of debt? What do you think that would do? Do you think that would make inflation better? Would it make it worse? How many of you even agree that we should be paying off other people's debts? They signed on the dotted line. They agreed to pay that money back. They agreed to this obligation, to this commitment for their degree. A degree for most of the time now that is completely worthless. Why do these people who want this debt forgiven, why can't they just go out and get one of these 11.1 million jobs, many in the service sector, but many paying $15, $17, $20 an hour, flipping burgers, making coffees, cleaning laundry? Why can't they go out and deliver food or be an Uber driver? Why is it our responsibility to pay other people's debts and commitments? I don't know. If you want to chime in, comment down below. Love to know your thoughts. Daily Mail today, nearly 75% of Americans think the U.S. is headed in the wrong direction, and more than half worry the country's best years are in the past. NBC poll shows. What do you all think about that? Are our best years in the past? I pray to God that they're not. But the direction that we are heading in is so dangerous, so costly. It is bankrupting this country on a daily basis, devaluing your purchasing power, my purchasing power, weakening the core of this country. And I don't see how we do not go into a deep depression. Can somebody please explain to me how we're going to avoid heading into a very, very severe depression? We're not producing or manufacturing anything in this country. 70% of this of our GDP is based on consumption. We paid people to sit at home for over a year to produce and manufacture nothing. We told people they didn't have to pay their rent. $31.5 trillion of debt, $170 trillion of unfunded liabilities. Social Security is supposed to be broke by 2034. It goes on and on and on. How do we avoid this? And here's a real question for all of you. Can we avoid it? Is America just heading on a one-way collision course to a Great Depression? And are the best years of this country behind us? I hope not. I pray. The hedge. Peter Schiff says this: markets still operating on false confidence in the Fed. Well, I believe markets are beginning to figure out that the Fed may not pivot. And I think we saw another example of that today. Peter Schiff goes on to say this: you have so many people mindlessly piling into trades just chasing momentum. Bed Bath & Beyond on verge of bankruptcy. The company's bonds are trading at 50 cents on the dollar. There's no chance the common stockholders are going to get their money back, he says. People who were paying $30 a share have no idea what they were doing. But the people who were selling the stock on the way up, they knew exactly what they were doing. You know, a lot of investors today are younger. We have a lot of younger people investing today, chasing these markets, believing in the euphoria. They've never seen a downturn. They've never seen a Great Depression. They've never seen a 2008. They've never seen a housing crash. They've never seen bad times. They believe that the Fed is their friend. They believe, as they've been told, and you really can't blame these people because they've been told this their whole life, that the Fed is their friend, that if things get bad, the Fed's just going to bail the system out. And basically, you can't lose. It's like going to Las Vegas and never losing. These people are being lied to. They're being deceived. They believe that things cannot collapse. They believe that there can never be another 1929 or another 2008 housing crash. Many people today, especially younger people, believe this is a game. They've made a lot of money in these markets, but they are playing with fire and they have no idea. We're in a period where people have made ridiculous amounts of money doing absolutely nothing. People being paid to sit at home, the $600 benefit checks, the unemployment checks, the $2,500 stimulus checks, pouring into NFTs, into cryptos, everybody telling you to buy this, this, and this, pushing everything up, and everybody was buying money, 1,000x, 10,000x, buying Lambos, buying Porsches, buying Ferraris, buying $100,000 Rolex watches. The piper is coming, ladies and gentlemen, and I believe that we are going to have to pay the piper because this is now all coming to an abrupt end. And these people just believe, really, they played this like a game, that it was just gambling, but you don't lose. And I believe that people are going to learn a very, very critical lesson here very, very soon. And if you're a younger person, you really should read a little bit of history and go back to what happened in 1929, how it happened, go back to 2008, and just know that these type of events always seem to happen in cycles. And to say that it can't happen because the Fed said so, or bad things can't happen because we live in the US, that's a really, really bad strategy and a terrible excuse. And a terrible way to protect yourself from what is coming. Bad things can happen to anybody. We are going to see downturns. We always have, we always will. Things work in cycles, but you got to go back to the basics, back to common sense. When you print money, print trillions upon trillions upon trillions of dollars. When you pump $6 trillion into the economy and into these markets over 24 months, how can you believe that we're not going to see blowback? This euphoria where people literally could not hear the truth or see the truth because they were just drunk on this financial euphoria that has been pumped out all over the television, all over these shows, from the analysts to the hosts to the economists to the politicians. I had somebody write me yesterday, and I just want to respond to this for a moment. So, and I'll just paraphrase. Somebody said that I was being dramatic, that, I said that this is going to be the worst crash in history. And they said I'm being dramatic, worst crash in history, question mark, worse than the Great Depression? You're turning this into a doomsday drama. Somebody wrote that to me. And interestingly enough, Egan von Greers is in this article today on The Hedge titled, "An Autumn of Epic Asset Collapses and Higher Inflation Means Poverty and Unrest." And just to highlight a few things for this gentleman, again, this is just another perfect example of how people think today and how naive their thinking is, and even ignorant to a degree when you know what's happening, when you look at the data, when you look at the facts. And Egan von Greers gave us some data points here, and I'm going to list them out here. Debt at levels that can never be repaid, sovereign, corporate, and private. Think about that. $170 trillion in unfunded liabilities, $31.5 trillion in federal debt. You have municipality debt, corporate debt, private debt, sovereign debt, debt, and people now resorting to credit cards just to pay for essentials and live day to day. And maybe this gentleman makes $500,000 a year and he doesn't worry about these things. But just because you make $500,000 a year doesn't mean that this country is not in big trouble. Because if the country goes, you're going to go down with it, no matter how much money you make. This is going to affect everybody. And if we have a weak nation, we're going to have a weak economy, and you're going to fall with it. Epic bubble in stocks, bonds, and property, all about to collapse. I don't think anybody can deny that. If this gentleman doesn't believe that these are all bubbles, then he needs help. Really, you're drinking a lot of Kool-Aid, and you need to put it down. Mr. von Greers goes on. Major geopolitical conflicts. Look at what is happening with Russia and China. Energy shortages, food shortages. And this leads to famine and unrest. We're seeing so much crime taking place in the stores every day. I'm watching, groups of people go into 7-Elevens, go into just retail stores, Louis Vuitton stores, jewelry stores, and just take whatever they want to take. It's incredible. Inflation leading to hyperinflation. We just talked about that. If the Fed pivots, you're going to see America have to deal with hyperinflation. I truly do believe that. The world is losing faith in the US dollar right now, and if we pivot, that is going to be a complete disaster, as the world's going to see us losing control, and they are going to be dumping dollars at that point, because they're going to realize that if the Fed reverses course, that the Fed has lost control. Why would you want to be holding US dollars? We're printing them to infinity, and we're already seeing many countries dumping dollars. You would see countries dumping dollars literally on steroids if the Fed pivots. Political and economic corruption. I don't think anybody can disagree. And lastly, no country will afford Social Security, medical, or pension payments. We're already seeing a majority of our pensions unfunded right here in the US. Social Security running out by 2034. Our money's been completely mismanaged, recklessly. And as we said earlier, are we done? Are our best days behind us, or are they in front of us? Looking at this mess that I'm reading to you in this data, we are so broke, we are so bankrupt. I don't know how this can be fixed, and I don't know if it can be fixed. And this is why I make these videos, to alert all of you that you're going to, at some point, have to deal with things on your own. Nobody's coming to help you. No politician, no police department, no pastor, no church, no bank is going to be coming to help you. you will be on your own. And to this gentleman who thinks that this is dramatic, I think if you really knew what was going on, and I think if all of us even knew half of what was happening behind the scenes, we would be in panic mode right now. I don't think people realize what $1 trillion looks like, how much damage printing $1 trillion does, and all this money we've sent all over the world while people right here struggle. And there's an article today on The Hedge, military families suffering as housing benefits can't keep up with exploding rent. Our veterans, our military personnel cannot even rent a house or an apartment now. They're priced out. They're having to go into their own pocket, or they're having to get substandard housing. While we've now sent $10 billion to Eastern Europe. While we have vets sleeping on the streets of America, vets having to live in substandard housing, going into their own pockets to pay for rent because it's so expensive. Nobody looking out for our vets. Absolutely repulsive and disgusting. Is that dramatic? I think we should all be appalled with the recklessness of spending that is continuing to take place while they're coming after you to pay more taxes. Are you getting your money's worth right now when you pay your taxes? What are you getting? It's pathetic. It really is. Again, am I being overly dramatic? I don't think I don't even think I'm overreacting enough, because this stuff really is so unbelievable that when you read it and you listen to some of these interviews with people who are being forced out into the streets, our vets, people who are just grinding it out every day to pay their bills and pay their taxes, and nobody's helping them. We're not bringing back real jobs in America, real production jobs here in America that pay well. We have a service sector economy. There is no way people are going to survive. There's no way a middle class will survive in America based on a service sector economy. People now are making careers out of fast food jobs and service sector jobs. This is not sustainable, ladies and gentlemen. We are not going to have a middle class. We are not going to be a world superpower if all we're doing is making coffees and folding towels at laundromats and delivering food, for the top 1%. This is unbelievable what is taking place. And people are still naive. They're oblivious. They're spending money. They're not preparing. Again, I think most of you see exactly what's going on. And this is why you have to be critically thinking for yourself. This is why you got to be your own central bank. And somebody wrote yesterday, well, does that mean I print my own money? No. That doesn't mean print your own money. It means be your own central bank. Be responsible for your own finances. Hold real assets like gold, like silver. Get yourself out of debt. Wake up, start reading, start absorbing knowledge, and start critically thinking for yourself. We as a people and as a nation need to stop spending. It's time to hunker down. It's time to get ready for a very, very big storm that is getting very, very close. And I'm not going to sit here and try to be dramatic or try to tell you something that isn't real. I'm very concerned, extremely concerned about what is happening in this economy, because I know when the economy goes, what happens socially. I'm very concerned about what's happening over in Eastern Europe. I'm concerned about what's happening in China, what's happening geopolitically, the escalation of war. This is not good for America, ladies and gentlemen. There's no way we're prepared to deal with Russia or China. Let me tell you that right now. We are not going to be chasing after guys in robes and flip-flops and 30-year-old weapons in the middle of the desert. This is a different animal. This is Russia. This is China. Nuclear superpowers, advanced hypersonic, subsonic missiles, navies, submarines, nuclear power, you name it. Very dangerous stuff. And you have China now, which is the biggest economy on planet Earth, the biggest banks on planet Earth, the biggest cities on planet Earth, the biggest army on planet Earth, now aligned with Russia. There are people like this gentleman who will just go day to day and believe like, well, this is okay, you know, okay, war, collapse, depressions, reckless spending, massive debt, you know, I'm just going to watch a football game. You all have to decide right now, and you better hurry, about how you're going to prepare for what's coming and what you're going to do about it. But to sit on the couch and watch a football game or play video games or just hope it goes away or just not want to believe it or just ignore it, that's going to be a really, really bad strategy. Today was another warning. These markets are going to collapse at some point. And when they do, and the housing market's going to collapse too. I don't know how bad this can get, but it's going to be the worst collapse in my lifetime, in my parents' lifetime, in my grandparents' lifetime, my great-grandparents' lifetime. It will be the worst collapse in U.S. history, period. Global history, period. So you can sit on the couch and hope it goes away, or you begin preparing immediately. God bless all of you. Thanks for watching. Please share this video. Make sure that you take a minute and subscribe to this channel. And make sure you give it a thumbs up. And I look forward to speaking with all of you very, very soon.